What's up guys, this is Chris with Dicot Designs, and man do I have a cool van to show you today. This is Mesa, and it is a van packed with a ton of stuff. We've got a recirculating shower, we've got radiant heated floors, we've got a dishwasher, we've got a rooftop tent. So stick around and you can check out all the cool stuff that's packed into this van. All right, so if you don't know us already, we are Dicot Designs. We build fully custom vans here in Boulder, Colorado. This van was specially built for our amazing client, Don. Don is retired. He's based in the Midwest, but is super active and loves to recreate out west as well. He's a big cyclist, so he wants to be able to get to remote places, bring all of his gear with him. Don used to have a towable trailer with a truck, and so that towable trailer had a lot of space, a lot of amenities, obviously wanting to downsize to something a bit more compact, but still has a lot of those luxuries amenities that he had in that trailer, and to be able to spend time in what you could call like his little cocoon within the van. So we worked closely with Don to design this van, so many different aspects. We got a lot to cover in this tour, but let's start on the outside. Starting with the suspension, we went with the Evictus Pre-Runner kit. This is basically the highest end, top of the line suspension that you can get for a Mercedes Sprinter. Some of the benefits of it are that it's fully rebuildable, so you can service it really easily if need be. It's got a great warranty and service life as well. Additionally, what's cool about this system is that there's no clickers or adjustments needed. It is truly adaptable based on the terrain. So whether you're off-road and then you hit the highway right away, you don't need to fuss with anything. It's a really incredible suspension system and can handle a real beating. Moving on, we got wheels and tires, whoops. So we've got some BF Goodrich KO3s. These are great all-terrain tires. We upped the size. We've got 275, 7017s. And then these wheels, man, I love these wheels. These are the Reka Rambler R35s. So we've got this with a full-size spare on the back as well. All right, so coming up to the front of the van, we got some cool stuff. We've got actually a tint on this front windshield as well as the two side windows. Really the benefit of the tint here is heat protection. So one, it can help reduce how sunburnt you get when you're driving on the road, and it can reduce the solar radiation that comes into the van, keeping the front area of the van a bit cooler in the summer. Moving down here, we've got the hood. We have Line-X'd the hood. It's a durable finish that we also tend to put on the flares as well, which we did on this van. But the hood can get chipped with rocks coming up on the highway, things like that. So this is a way to give you a little bit more of a rugged look, but also helps protect the hood of the van as well. As we drop it down another level, we've got the Flatline Vanco front bumper. It's not too overbearing or too aggressive and rugged, but it does offer substantial protection. We have this bull bar up front here. There is space for a winch. Don didn't need a winch, so we didn't add that in necessarily, but we've got the D-rings up front. And again, it's really nice to have that protection. All right, now I'm gonna talk about the stuff that you can't really see, but the diesel tank on this van, we actually upgraded. I think stock from Mercedes, it's 24, 25 gallon diesel tank on the van. We've actually upgraded to a 45 gallon tank. So that's basically bringing the fuel range of this vehicle up to around 900 plus miles. So you can really hit the road for a real long time. And then as well, just a small thing, we added a rear differential skid plate under the back to protect the drivetrain. And then additionally, under this bumper, we also have a front skid plate because, you know, you want to protect the important parts of this van. All right, so let's talk about lights, and man, we got a lot of lights on this van. We got a KC Highlights 50-inch Gravity Titan light bar. It's super bright. You can actually toggle between a clear white light, which is gonna give you real great light far in the distance in front of the van. And then you can also toggle it with amber lighting. So that's really nice if it's snowy, foggy, raining, for those types of conditions. You can also run it as a daytime running light. It's legal to have on during the day just for better visibility on the road. Coming down here, we've got these Baja Designs XL Sport A-pillar lights, also known as ditch lights. These things are great. I really like these because they actually angle off the van a bit so that when you're driving on like a country road, you're nervous about maybe some wildlife, they can give you wider visibility on the road and pretty far too because it's a clear white light. Coming down on the van, we've got amber fog lights that we installed with the Flatline Vanco front bumper. So again, additional amber lighting if you have those snowy conditions, really helpful. Last but not least, we got some underglow. We got some rock lights underneath the van. We installed that along the entire length of the van, and you've got a remote with it. You can switch between different colors, yada yada. It's a cool little feature that we added to this van for Don as well. All right, so let's talk about what's on top of this van, and there is quite a bit. So first of all, we've got a Super Pacific cloud cap. This thing is sweet. It is a rooftop tent on top of the van that you can actually enter through the living space of the vehicle, so you don't have to get outside to get in. Don wanted to have this on the van so that he could travel with his granddaughters, bring them out west, you know, give them really nice outdoor recreation experiences as they grow up. So Grandpa of the Year award goes to Don for that. We've got a Max Air fan. So that Max Air fan obviously provides ventilation for the cloud cap itself, but also provides ventilation into the living space too. We've got an inflatable mattress in there, and then we also have a light up in that cloud cap. So you can see what you're doing when you're up there, and then a red light on that light as well, so that you have some nice dim lighting when you're heading off to sleep. Behind the cloud cap, another really cool thing is we actually had a custom half rack made by Paragon Off-Road. Why is it custom? Because we wanted it to do quite a few things and fit behind the cloud cap. It fits around the Nomatic X3 48-volt air conditioning unit. Additionally, it's called a half rack because it just goes from the back of the cloud cap to the back of the van. And so there's a little space between the cloud cap and the AC unit where we put the Starlink. We actually built a covering over the air conditioning unit so that we have a mountable surface for an additional solar panel. So up on top of that van, we actually have 620 watts of solar for Don. We've got a big electrical system in here. We want to make sure that Don can charge his batteries, so we got a lot of solar power up there too. Last but not least, on this roof, we've got this full-length Nomatic legless awning, and this thing is sweet. One, it's motorized, so with a flip of a switch, you can extend this awning out, and then when you want to pack up camp, you just hit a button and then it'll retract right back into its housing. You can adjust the pitch of your awning really easily if need be, and it can also handle quite a bit in terms of wind gusts too. So it's a very durable awning. And one of the parts I like about it a lot too is it's got these LEDs built right into it. So it's got an LED strip in the housing that stays close to the van, as well as the housing that extends out. So you've got nice ambient lighting for your front porch. All right, so we're inside the van, and one of the first things that you'll notice probably is just the layout. And that's one of the most important aspects of a van build, and probably one of the most difficult, and it's why we do custom, because everyone has different individual needs and wants based around their own lifestyle. I can't tell you how many times I've seen in van tours, I can't believe this person doesn't have a full shower. And then the next comment's like, how could they have a full shower that takes up so much space? Well, it's based around the individual. And Don wanted to have a full shower. He also wanted to have a specific dedicated reading area. Don loves to read. So it's based around these things that we worked with Don to figure out what the perfect layout for him might be. Another aspect that we get into the weeds with our clients on is the design. So the aesthetics of the van, the textures, all of that sort of stuff. We really want the space to feel uniquely yours, right? And so with Don, he mentioned how much he loves it out west, how he loves the canyons. He mentioned his appreciation for the Dolores River. And so we wanted this van to kind of feel like those canyons. This van is called Mesa. And so we tried our best to recreate that feeling and make it feel like an extension of the outdoors. So with that, we have this beautiful Alcantara fabric. This is kind of like a faux suede. It's a premium upholstery product that we used for the walls and ceilings. It's super soft and kind of reminds you of that sandstone out in the desert. Additionally, we went with a lot of brown tones. So we have the bamboo cabinetry. We have a lot of walnut. Additionally, he also mentioned how he wants the van to kind of feel like a cocoon, like a really cozy, safe space as well. And so that informed a lot of the design decisions that you'll find around this van. We've got the TwoTech 2 woven vinyl floor. It's really great because one, it's got a great look, and also it's super durable, so it's really easy to clean, when you're getting in and out of the van and tracking a lot of dirt in. All right, so coming up to the front of the van, we got a bunch of cool stuff up here too. Let's start with these two front seats. These are the Schellmann. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, but we've got these seats. These are the Vario F Clima seats. These are great. So these are a sweet upgrade for those long drives. When you sit in it, it is a bit firmer than the stock Sprinter seat. It has the heated seats. It's also got some ventilation. So that's that Clima portion. You can turn that on a hot summer day, and it's gonna run fans through the seat so that it keeps you cool, reduces that sweat. So that's a really nice feature of these two front seats. And obviously they swivel behind so that you can open up the space and kind of entertain 4 people in the living area. Additionally, up here, we've got this Flatline Vanco dash mount that allows us to mount a few different knickknacks up here. The main one I want to talk about actually is this S-Pod Source LT. This is a really great power management system for any auxiliary items that you're adding to your vehicle. We've got this GPS here. This is the Garmin Tread. These lights controlled from this switch pad right here. We've also got an ARB air compressor that's underneath the hood of the van, so you can turn the air compressor on here. Up above me, we've got the Flatline Vanco overhead shelf. And one unique thing that we did for Don as well was actually add this walnut LED track lighting too. It's on a dimmer, which you can access right here as you're in this front seat. And that's something that Don wanted because, look, Don reads, I think, 500,000 books a year, some crazy number. And he wants to read a lot while he's in his van, and he wants to have good lighting too. So we made sure to add this lighting so that if he's up in this front seat, he can read super easily. And actually, now that we've put one in, we love putting lighting up here because it really brightens up the front of the van too. Alrighty, so this is the reading nook bench area, I guess you could say. We've got this sweet lagoon table here, lagoon swiveling table, really great to have. You can kind of move it out of the way if need be, and it can also extend to be kind of a shared table for the front of the van, and you can easily stow it away right next to the bench so that you have it out of the way when you don't want it here. Again, the bench was a really important aspect for Don because he wanted to be able to read and have his morning coffee in a comfortable space. Under the bench, we've got a Rixson hydronic heating system, which is a really sweet system. So while you're driving, it heats up the coolant and preheats your hot water, it preheats your radiant heated floors, and it also preheats your forced hot air. If you're not driving though, it's not a big deal. There's a furnace underneath the vehicle, which actually taps into the diesel tank, so you can preheat your whole system that way. So another cool thing about this bench is that we've got all of our controls here. So let me explain what's going on. We've got our Rixson controller right here. Here we have our EcoFlow power system, which I'll explain the electrical system here in a minute. We've got our controls for our lights, our gray water tanks, and then our Garmin sound system. So first off, let's talk about the electrical system in this van. We are running an EcoFlow 15 kilowatt hour power system. So that's actually 1,200 amp hours of lithium battery, which is a whole lot. We got a lot of things going on in this van, but that is really a lot of security for you while you're on the road and not having to worry about recharging too much. So we've got a really powerful system. The EcoFlow system has a really powerful inverter as well. We have shore power charging, we have alternator charging, and like I said, we've got the 620 watts of solar up on the roof as well. In the van, we've got a ton of outlets, and we have one on the outside of the van. We've got a ScanStrut exterior outlet with 2 different plugs. Additionally, we have an auxiliary solar port, an Anderson connector port from ScanStrut that's installed on the outside of the van towards the back where the shore power charging is, so that if you want to add on any auxiliary solar panels and get some additional charging, you can do that too. All right, so coming down here, let's talk about the sound system. Don loves music, I mean, who doesn't? But he's a bit of an audiophile. We wanted to have a good sound system in this van. So here we've got this Garmin Fusion device, which controls 2 zones as well as a subwoofer. We've got 2 speakers up here in the front, 2 speakers in the rear doors. So we've got this nice surround sound type feel with a subwoofer and amp underneath the bed so that you've got really nice balanced sound throughout the vehicle. Over here, we've got a bunch of dimmer switches for lighting. We are all about dimmable ambient lighting, and that's what we did in this van. So first up, we've got the main light fixture, which is a large piece of walnut, and I gotta say, this is probably one of the most beautiful pieces of walnut that I've ever had and used in a van for sure. The second dimmer switch here is for cabinetry lighting. So we have LED lighting in the toe kick of the kitchen cabinetry. We have LED lighting underneath the upper cabinetry and then above the upper cabinetry as well. So we have nice lighting there. The third dimmer switch is actually for this little dome light. This was a really fun thing to try to build because again, Don wanted to have really good lighting in this front reading area. And last but not least, we've got this dimmer switch for the shower so that you can adjust the lighting in the shower. You want a moody shower, you want a bright shower, you got choices. All right, so coming back here, we are in the shower space. First off, we have L-Track, so you can hang towels, things like that. We've got an OGO composting toilet, which I'll get into in a little bit more detail later on. And then we've got a bamboo shower mat that has some details to kind of match the Mesa theme for this van. We have this Nautilus retractable door, so it doesn't take up a bunch of space. It doesn't have to swing into the aisle, and you can just retract it back like that. Now I can hear the comments already. Why would you put in such a big shower? It takes up so much space in the van. Well, my question to you is, would you change your mind if I told you that you could take a 30-40 minute shower on just 1 gallon of water? I say that because you can do that with this shower. That's because we are using the Infinity shower system. So you're going to turn on your normal regular shower that is kind of separate of your Infinity shower system first. That water is going to come through the outer ring of your shower head, right? And if you're like super dirty, you'll just rinse yourself off and let that run through to your gray water tank. Once that's done though, you're going to turn on your Infinity shower system. What that's going to do is going to shut off the line that brings that water to your gray water tank and instead pump it up to your Infinity shower system. From there, that water that's going through the drain is going to come back up into the van and go through first a micron filter to clean up larger debris. And then second, it's going to go through a UV filter to sanitize that water as well. So once you've primed the Infinity shower system with 1 gallon of water, you're now getting clean, recirculated water through your shower system, and you can just enjoy a shower as long as you want. In a van, people often talk about having enough solar or battery capacity, but what I found is that often it's the water that runs out first and isn't the easiest to fill up. Don wanted to be able to have a shower and not have to worry about filling up his water too much. So this Infinity shower system is a great way to allow him to really maximize his water storage on this van. One of the principles that we build with at Dicot Designs is serviceability. We want to make it easy to service the van if ever necessary. You may notice that on the front side we have this panel. This is removable with magnets. If you want to clean out your micron filter or replace your UV lamp for your Infinity shower system, if you ever need to check any of the plumbing fittings, with your shower system, and then this whole panel is removable as well. So we really want to make the entire water system super serviceable. All right, in addition to the shower, we've got the toilet in here. So this is a OGO composting toilet. We have it fixed in this position within the shower. It vents out through the side of the van so you don't get any stinky smells. We also have this wet bath cover that fits right over the top of it, which is really great. A little bit about how composting toilets work. So there's a liquids jug that is really easy to remove and dump. And then for the solids bin, essentially you'll put in your organic material, you'll do your business, and then it'll churn it up. And by doing so, it helps break it down. And what that means is that you can put it into a trash bag when you're all done and throw it out in your regular trash. So it's really easy to manage and maintain a composting toilet in that way. All right, we got the kitchen galley here. And man, if you've watched the tours, I say it every time, nothing beats a long kitchen countertop. It's really nice. Some vans, you have a really limited counter space and you don't realize how much you need that until you're actually trying to cook in the van and you have your induction cooktop here and then there's nowhere for you to prep your food. So it's really nice to have all of this space. And with this countertop extension, I think you have about 100 inches, so basically 8 feet of countertop space. So that's a real benefit of having a big galley just on one side of the van. Up front, we tried to set this back a little bit just to open up the space a bit more in this front living area. But here we've just got 4 drawers along the length here. You'll notice up top we've got an outlet here and we've got an outlet in the back. We wanted to provide a lot of outlets so it's really easy to, go through your kitchen business. Here we've got a few nozzles and such. The faucet, which has hot and cold water, again, on-demand hot and cold water with that Rixson system. This is tapped into a 35-gallon freshwater tank, which is underneath the passenger side of the bed. We always like to put that inside the van because we don't want the lines to be freezing. We want you to have a 4-season van. Here we've got 2 soap dispensers, and then here we've got a dedicated drinking water faucet with a Guzzle H2O water filter system, which is underneath this countertop as well. Coming down here, we got something pretty cool. What's this little box, you might say? Well, we've got a frickin' dishwasher. Can you believe it? This is a Fisher & Paykel dishwasher. You might wonder, does Don hate doing dishes? I don't know, maybe he does, but that is not the reason why we picked this dishwasher. The reason being, as many of you may know, at home, it's actually a lot more efficient to put dishes in the dishwasher than to wash them all by hand. And so this was actually an effort to be as conservative as possible with the water usage in a van. This was the most efficient dishwasher of its size that we could find. So that's what we've got here. We've got this lock on here so that it doesn't swing open while you drive. I think you can fit 7 or 9 different place settings within this dishwasher here. So really cool to be able to just toss dishes in here, not worry about washing dishes yourself. And again, it's more efficient with that water. So you don't need to worry about filling up your water tank all that much, because when you are on the road, it's easy to find a place to plug in, all that stuff. It's easy to fill up on diesel, but finding a spigot with clean potable water is a little bit more difficult. So this is going to reduce the amount of times that Don has to fill up his water tank. All right, we're moving back, right? Over here, this is the Breville 3-in-1 Combi Wave, I think is what it's called. It's a microwave, it is a convection oven, and it is an air fryer all in one. This is a really sweet unit. We've got this ventilation for it up here so that you can do a lot of different types of cooking with this unit. Down here, we've just got a big drawer for pots and pans, all your different kitchen utensils and appliances. This drawer is actually specifically dedicated to some of Don's coffee gear, his coffee maker, his coffee grinder. I know he has a blender that he wants to bring. And then this little thing right here is actually a step up to make it easier to get into the bed. This bed is rather high with the flares, and so to make it easier, we installed this step so you can step right up and get in and out of bed. It locks in place to make it secure, and these are drawer slides rated for 500 pounds, so you don't really need to worry about it breaking on you or anything like that. So we added that in as well. Up here, we've got the upper cabinetry. And the woodworker in me, this might be my favorite part of the entire van build. It also killed my forearms, and I'll explain why in a minute. But this upper cabinetry runs from the slider door all the way to the back. This cabinetry is really nice because it's really easy to access storage. You'll see in a lot of van builds that there is storage space, but the question you want to ask is how accessible is that storage space? Is it a pain to get to? Because if it's a pain, then it's not that convenient, So with that said, we decided to go with walnut cabinetry. Again, we've got the lights on the top and the bottom. And one of the design ideas that we threw out to Don was to do this kind of scalloped texture across this walnut, and as well to have it be continuous grain across the whole length. So we have this waterfall edge with the grain around the corners. And this scallop texture is, again, one of those ways to try to make the van feel a bit more organic. It almost feels like a riverbed in a way. And the reason why I killed my forearms was because every one of these little dots I gouged on a Saturday. And I think it took me about 6 or 7 hours to do this whole face. But just love the way that it turned out. We want to keep it clean, so no hardware. So we have this lip to make it easy to open. We have motion lighting in all of these cabinets too, to make it really easy to see. So those are engaged with this latch, and then we've got these adjustable struts as well. All right, coming back here, we've got the fridge. Don really wanted to have a big fridge in this van, and so we went with the Vitrifrigo Slim 150. You've got a ton of fridge space, a large freezer, multiple shelves, and then down here, kind of this chest fridge area, or drawer fridge area, I guess you could say. All right, we are in the bedroom, which, you know, in a 170 that's built like this, it really does kind of feel like a separate space, a bedroom area. We're running a queen size bed in here, thanks to FlareSpace flares that we've got. Don had a few things that he wanted out of this little space here. First of all, this is not his hat, but he does have a cowboy hat and he wanted to put it here. So we've got a little cowboy hat holder here. Additionally, he wanted to have a little bit of a bedside table. So we've got that folding down right here. So, you know, a place to set a glass of water, to set your phone down. With that, in case he wants to charge some of his devices, we've got a USB plug here from Scanstrut. We've also got a regular wall outlet here too, so that, you know, it's easy to charge up. And then here we've got a switch for these reading sconces here as well, because Don's gonna wanna read back here too. We actually used walnut from the same slab of walnut that the main light fixture came from. We wanted to keep this really simple square design as well for that continuity, and use some acrylic to help diffuse the light but make it bright enough so that it does provide some dim ambient reading light. Another nice feature of this bedroom area is good ventilation, okay? So we've got windows on both sides of the bed here that offer some cross ventilation, as well as the Nomadic air conditioning unit right above the bed. This really is the best place for it, because where hot air is gonna bother you the most is when you're trying to go to sleep. So we put that AC unit right above the bed so you can cool down and have a good night's sleep. All right, we're back outside. We're gonna slowly meander towards the back of the van, but we got a few stops along the way. So first, right here, we've got these side steps from Paragon Off-Road. Side steps to me are like a must if you have an all-wheel drive Sprinter. Makes it a lot easier to get in and out of the van, or else this is quite high. Here on the side of the kitchen galley, we've got just a simple little outdoor extension table. So if you want to set drinks down while you're hanging out under your nice awning, you can do that. All right, coming back here, we got windows, and we tried to put in as many windows basically as we could for Don, because he wanted to get good views out of the van. So one of the windows that we really like is this Van Windows Direct awning window. One of the cool things about it, well, first of all, it opens up really wide, so you get like a really good view out of it. And it also has a built-in bug screen and a built-in shade as well. So this window is behind the driver's seat and in this slider door. In this middle quarter, we've just got a wide open glass window there. And then of course the windows in the flares too. As we come back, we've got these Flatline Vanco rocker lockers. It's just a nice way to be able to add as much storage as possible to the van, and you've got a key to lock those up as well. We've got a few things on the back of the van here. So first off, this is basically all OWL gear. So first we've got this OWL plate step, which makes, you know, grabbing stuff off the bed or in the van a lot easier. On this passenger side, we've got the B2 Pro. Mounted to that, we've got the OWL Monster 40 box. This thing is massive. It's got a ton of storage. You can see you can open it up. You can set things down on here. You can adjust your shelf to the right height. This thing is sweet. And of course, you can lock it up too. Above that, we've got the Demos shovel. The shovel was provided to us by Don, so he had that already and just wanted to get a mount for it so that we could put it on this back rack, so we did just that. And then on this side, pretty straightforward, we've got the Owl Van's rear tire carrier and ladder. So what's nice about this setup is it's really easy to get this spare tire off the van. It's the full-size spare tire, and then we've got that ladder so that if you want to check out your stuff on the roof, you can do that pretty easily. Another cool thing that we've got with this van are these Canyon Vans stop stays. So these struts, well, one, they help open the van up, but more than that, you know, it's a little windy today. These doors with all this gear on it can be pretty heavy. You get a gust of wind, this thing is gonna wanna slam. So more than anything, this is almost like a safety feature. Coming to the back of the van, we've got the electrical system on this side. So we've got that whole EcoFlow system here. Down there, we've got the distribution panel. We've got an adjustment knob for that subwoofer that's down there. Here, we've got the switch for the lighting in the garage. Don really wanted to be able to store bikes in this van. So we have this full tray here so that he can do just that. So we've got this L-track here and in the back so that you can add a fork mount and then install your bike right there. This is rated for 500 pounds as well, so you don't have to worry, you know, about overloading that tray. On this passenger side, this is the whole water system cabinet. So this is where that 35-gallon water tank is. Here we've got our fill up, and then here we've got the mixing valve and the port for a quick connect for your outdoor shower too. In that cabinet, we installed a LevelMate Pro, which is a cool system. It actually kind of runs from an app on your phone. And when you get to camp, it'll tell you how level your van is so that you can make sure you're all squared away there. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this tour of Mesa and were able to learn something and enjoyed some of the really cool features that we packed into this incredible van for Don. If you're someone that might be interested in getting a custom van built for yourself, don't hesitate to reach out. You can find us at diecotdesigns.com or on Instagram at diecot_designs and just on the internet, you know. So don't hesitate to reach out, but hope you have a good one and see you out on the trails.